Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this is my review for Paddington 2. Paddington is happily settled in with the Brown family in Windsor Gardens, where he has become a beloved member of the community, spreading joy and marmalade wherever he goes. While searching for the perfect present for his Aunt Lucy's 100th birthday, Paddington spots a unique pop-up book in Mr. Gruber's antique shop and embarks upon a series of odd jobs to buy it. Hilarity and adventure ensue when the book is stolen and Paddington and the Browns must unmask the thief. This is a 2017 movie, rated PG. It runs 104 minutes, so it seems like a long time of 104 minutes, so yeah, just enjoy. The voices I can read are Hugh Bonneville, Sally Hawkins, Brendan Gleeson, Julie Walters, and Jim Broadbent, and then I think at the end here is Hugh Grant. So he's kind of the main focus, I would say, of this movie, the biggest name. Well, I gotta be honest. I cannot stop just chuckling and smiling about this movie. I hate it. I hate that I have to like a sequel of a weird movie at all. And I just that movie, it made me smile, and I just can't stop smiling. It's fun. I'm going to be a serious movie critic for about a minute, okay? I did mark on my notes 5 times that there was something stupid. I was sitting there and I just said, oh my gosh, how stupid can that be? 5 times. The first time that it just kind of sunk in and I had to write something down was the fact of when it started turning into a happy prison that Paddington has to go to and he turns into. You can be silly, you can be kind of weird, but that just seemed like a stupid thing. Like, no prison ever in the history of the world, even in a kids movie, would do that. I don't know. I am happy to report that I wrote down nothing on my inappropriate line. A lot of kids' movies do have fart jokes and, bad names and sexual references and whatever else you want to say, even sarcasticness. And I did not feel any of that in this movie, and I really appreciate that. So I would call this a very well valued movie for families. Totally appropriate, and I would suggest to anybody that it's very clean. I like that about this. The serious notes are that it does get pretty serious and scary. For kids watching, it turns kind of into a real movie after all this funny stuff, after all this silly stuff, and, kind of things that just make you shake your head and go, oh, okay, whatever. It turns into a really serious thing at the end, and so just prepare yourself for that. That's all I'll say on that. And then after I wrote down Happy Prison at the top, later in the movie, I'm wondering how it fit with the movie. It kind of shot itself in the foot a little bit, that if they're so happy in prison and if everything's so great, I mean, I know you're in prison and nothing's happy about that. And it kind of starts to turn into that because it's a smart movie and it wants these guys to escape. But I wrote down, why escape? If this prison is so great, and you've turned everything into it what you want. That didn't make much sense to me as a human being watching it, trying to make sense of it. The other thing that I got just confused about, and it's just common sense kind of thing, is that the people that are usually cooks of a jail, they're usually an employee and not an inmate. So I'm kind of wondering why Knuckles was an inmate if he was the cook. I'm sure it could get explained very easily, saying that that was his service. That was the only way he could serve. He was the only person who has ever had cooking experience or something like that. But it just seemed a little off because usually cooks are an employee of any building in the world. So that's just my one thing. Um, Couple of heavy things for children is that Hugh uh, likes to talk to his mannequins, and it just gets a little uncomfortable, even for adults. So it's hard to explain that kind of crazy to anybody, and especially to children. So I don't think they're going to get much out of that part of the movie, but it's obviously just kind of one of the lower parts of the movie, anyways. So the only other thing I would say is that at the end, it can get really sad and it can get kind of real about death, possible death. So I'll just lay that out there for you. All right, now to the fun stuff. Is that I wrote down the funniest scenes that I'm gonna probably remember. I'd love to see this movie again. I just don't know if I want to own it, but these scenes I think I'll remember. What made the movie really funny? One of the first things is Paddington is looking for a job and he gets stuck cleaning a haircut salon, and that whole scene in the salon is the barber shop. I'm sorry, is just so funny. It just kept going, and I was like, wow, that was good. When he's in prison and he has to do the laundry, he just has his Paddington way of doing things, and everything. And the second he gets dumped on by the laundry, that's really funny. And then when he gets to work in the kitchen with the oranges, just everything about the oranges, one fresh orange, one juicy orange, to having all the oranges fall on him again. Just it's really funny. And then at the end, when him and Hugh have kind of a stare down, his sticky apples. I mean, just who thinks of that? Just someone in the world thought of that and decided to recreate it into a movie, bring it to life. That's really smart. The only other thing about this movie is that, and why it kind of got to me, I think, is the graphics are amazing. Like, there's this one part where the inmates are talking to each other through a pipe, and it actually brings us down the pipe. And then later, when Paddington's kind of down, he has this dream kind of sequence where he's out in the jungle with his aunt, and he runs to her, and then all of a sudden he's back in his prison. I mean, just everything about this. And I really wanted to talk about this point. Hugh Grant is still an amazing person. I know he doesn't get as much respect as he should, and I'm here to give him some. He was in Paddington 2 to show his genius, okay? Not the fact that he gets to deal with the animated character very well, but he does. All that stuff at the end on the trains, I wonder how many times it took for them to actually get that right. Just the swiftness of this, of that, of hit the bar and hit the thing. And he makes a really great villain in this movie. He's just so smart. And I really think he made this movie. I mean, can you imagine anybody else in that role? I really can't. But the fact that he made this almost like a national treasure kind of movie, following the clues and being able to play different roles and being able to say the right thing at the right time. It's not just some stupid kids movie. It's, really adventure that we all get to go along with. And he helps that out so much by being kind of a smart villain and a nice guy. And it kind of helps with the English kind of bland comedy and the way of talking and not really wanting to get overly excited about anything in the way they talk, like, oh, you made up your mind about this. I mean, like, they just that stale way of talking. Um, and so I just think that this movie is really well done, and I'm sorry that I even wrote down that it was stupid in parts because I can pretty much get over that with all the great comedy and the great action and the great storytelling and the great adventure and the way that the lessons that come out of this: family, love, respect, and being there and not lying, and manners. And I mean, goodness gracious, watch this movie, please. It's one of those that you just want to take home and show to everybody because of the virtues that it has and the lessons that it has. And then it's just so funny. I forgot how good Paddington is. I know I saw the first one at least twice because, when the first one came out, it was more of a focal thing, and sequels are always get a little bit less attention. So I say I really enjoyed this. I can't give it an A. The last 20 minutes are totally A worthy. It has the action of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It has the best ending you could ever think of. And it keeps it going while the credits are rolling and has closure and everything. The last 20, 30 minutes are totally A worthy. It's the rest of the movie not making much sense and not connecting itself very well. And like I said, the bland way of talking to each other. But the lessons, I'm going to give Paddington 2 a B+. It is the best B movie I've probably ever seen. I'm not underselling that at all. I think Paddington 2 is the best B movie I've ever seen. I was literally crying at the end with how they end it, and I didn't see it coming. And then I just could not stop laughing and smiling after I turned it off for 5 minutes. I was just stuck here just smiling. It's one of those movies. It's really wonderful. I hope you all give this a chance. I can't say that I needed to see the end scene with Hugh Grant dancing around the prison and pink and all the prisoners in pink and come on. But that's the stuff that'll stick in your head and that makes you remember it too. So make sure you watch through the end and everything, see that scene, and so it's stuck in your mind too, okay? My name is Danny. If you like this or any of my other reviews, try and give them a watch, like and subscribe to my channel if you want to. I love these animated movies, and stuff like this isn't really even animated with all the real people in it. I just don't know how to talk about this movie other than say it's enjoyable. So give Paddington 2 a watch. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy movies.